Hello everyone and welcome to my another lecture on training only. Let me recapitalize as to what I did in the last lecture. I spoke about something related with the training need assessment. We know that when there is a need for training, only then we go for the training, and if there is no need for the training, we do not proceed with the training programs. Now, we know that as soon as we are able to identify the need of training at the individual level or at the group level, at the job level, at the organization level, then the actions have to be taken. At times what happens is there are different kind of trainings that can be imparted to people, but we have to bear in mind that all training programs, they come with a particular cost, time, and of course the usage of the resources also. So, it is always advisable that all the company people, they make judicious decision regarding the training program. At any point of time, if wrong trainings are given to the wrong set of people, then again it will result in the sheer waste of time, money, energy. So, we have to have perfect training need assessment or the analysis part. Now, today what I am going to talk about or what I am going to discuss about, it is all related with the different types of training. My dear friends, before I proceed with the different types of training, you have to bear in mind that all type of trainings, they are not given to all people. It is people specific, it is job specific. If there is a need at an individual level for a particular kind of training, only then that training will be given. And on the other hand side, if there is a need of training at the organizational level, then maybe all of the employees, they may be considered. But for example, if there is a need or a specific job requirement is there in a particular department, unit or section, only then the specific kind of training will be given. So, please understand that all types of trainings, they are not given to all set of people at the same time. It is again the need specific part. Let's proceed with the different types of training today. Now, as you can see on the chart or on the slide, there can be different types of trainings that can be actually done. So, it says that there are different approaches that have been advocated by various people. But here we actually focus on the trainings that are commonly employed in present day-to-day organization. The first one is the skill training, refresher training, cross-functional training, team training, creativity training, diversity training, literacy training, sales training, technical training, safety training, management training. Apart from all these trainings, there can be other kind of trainings which you can come across. But I thought these are of the most important ones, so I thought of discussing with you the ones which are mentioned on my slide. Let's talk about the first one. Here we talk about the skill training. Now, in the case of skill training, this type of training is mostly common in organization, because we know that in any organization, in my previous lectures also, I have been talking about KSA. That means we are more focusing on increasing the knowledge base about the skill set and the abilities. So, skill is a very, very important part in any of the trainings. So, here in the case of skill training, this process can be related with the reading, how we can improve the reading part, writing part, speaking part, listening part, problem solving part, or how well a person can manage him or herself, or how a person can learn new things, or how a person can work in a team. So, these are the things which are actually related with the skill. But there is an ETC also. That means these skills, they are not only related to this, they can be other kind of skills also that can be included. For example, they can be communication skills, they can be negotiation skills, they can be conflict skills, they can be analytical skills, they can be different kind of skill set that can be improved. So, here specific training objectives are set and trainings are identified through assessment. So, in the case of skills training, here the training content is developed to meet those objectives, that whether the person is good at reading, writing, computing, speaking, listening, problem solving. So, if the person is lacking, then the specific trainings can be related to them. So, here basically what happens in modern organization, more or less on the job, or maybe the lecture method, or maybe the apprenticeship, or maybe the coaching method, they are actually applied. But before applying these methods, we have to bear in mind that we or the managers, they should know how these trainings they are going to help the trainees in their job. If it is helpful, only then we proceed. If it is not helpful, we do not proceed. Or whether the training will be related to their trainee's goal or no, because everyone who is working in the organization has a specific role to play. So, if the training is related to them, only then the training will be given, otherwise it will not. And then of course, we have to encourage people that you have to learn by doing. So, learn by doing is basically the on-the-job method. On-the-job training method can be applied in the enhancement of the skills training. So, if people they become skillful in these aspects, then definitely no task is too far to be achieved. Then the second one which you can see on the screen, it's all related with the refresher training. So, basically refresher trainings, they are more common in the academic fraternity, and where the short-term courses are organized to enhance the different skill set. And it is why we are having the short-term courses, because there are rapid changes in technology which may force companies to go for this kind of training. So, by organizing short-term courses which would incorporate the latest development in terms of these latest development, it can be in terms of technology, it can be in terms of softwares, it can be in terms of equipments, tools, machineries, it can be anything, and be ready to take on the emerging challenges. So, if the person is quite well equipped, so they can always have these things at their disposal. One of the burning examples, my dear friends, in the case of short-term courses or short-term training, it was during the time of COVID. Nobody had any idea that the classes can be taken online also. And today is the bliss of the technology that you are encashing, that you are listening to my video over internet only. So, it was during the COVID time where there was a need that, okay, in order to continue with the education system, there is a need for the online classes. So, people who were not well aware about the internet usage also, they also got acclimatized, and now online classes, online lectures, Zoom classes, or maybe Zoom MDPs or training programs, they are so rampant, they are so common in all the organization. So, it is again because of the technology that there is a need assessment that, okay, now we have to move on with the digitalized form of education training programs. So, it is just the bliss of technology that everyone is encashing, or everyone is leveraging the skill of or the bliss of technology. So, at times that refresher trainings, they are required because there is a need for them. So, it can be in any area, it can be in the academia, it can be in corporate, or it can be in manufacturing, in production, in sales, in services, anywhere. So, as per the need, these refresher trainings, they can be conducted. Then we know that these refresher trainings, as you can see on the screen also, that they are conducted at regular intervals with the help of outside consultants who specialize in a particular descriptive job. For example, nowadays if students are there, or if research scholars are there, we know there are different kind of softwares which are available, maybe SPSS, maybe R, or maybe for qualitative research, they can be NVivo, they can be so many others. So, in order to have an upper hand, one has to learn these softwares to become better researcher. So, that is one of the ways by which we get better, and this is one of the ways of refresher training. Then the next one which you can see on the screen is all related with the cross-functional training. Now, cross-functional training basically involves training employees to perform operation in areas other than their assigned jobs. Now, other than assigned jobs, one has to bear in mind that every company will be looking forward for the people who are versatile, who can perform number of tasks simultaneously, or who can do number of tasks at different level. For example, in a bank only, a person can do front table jobs or back end jobs. Front table is like more of the customer dealing. Back end, it can be maintenance of the accounts, or maybe the cash management, or maybe the paper management. So, cross-functional trainings, they are actually done or given to the people so that they become apt at other skills also. That is why it says that one of the burning example is of the job rotation. Now, what is the meaning of job rotation? That if a person is working in one position, he moves on to the another one, then to the third one, then to the fourth one. So what happens is when the person is moved from one particular area to the another, then another to another, the person keeps on acquiring new skills. For example, as I've been given in the case, if I'm talking about the banking example, in that case, if a person is sitting at the cash counter, then he is going to talk about the intricacies, or he's going to learn about the intricacies of cash management. If the person is sitting on the front desk, then the person has to talk or has to learn skills of how to handle customers' different type of queries. Or in case, for example, if the person can be posted in the wealth management, or it can be maybe the acquisition of the accounts, or the person can be made the manager, or maybe the branch manager. So the person keeps on moving from one job to another. So that is one of the learning examples of the cross-functional trainings, where the person is not only trained with the specific its own area, but the knowledge is imparted or knowledge is given related to the other areas also. Then departments can exchange personnel for a certain period. Now, they can be exchanged. By this, basically what it means, that the people working in different departments, if there is a need, people working in different departments, if there is a need, they can ask people to come from the different department, and they can fill up those vacancies, or they can work for short time as the need arises. So, having a cross-functional training definitely facilitates an individual to increase the knowledge base, skill base, ability base, and then the company knows that, okay, Mr. X is a versatile person. He can be posted in department 1 also, he can be posted in department 2 also, and he can be posted in department 3 also. So, it's a kind of a win-win situation for both, for the company also and for the individual also. Then, high-performing workers can act as peer trainers and makes it attractive for both the specialist and the generalist. So, it says that high-performing workers can act as a peer trainers. That means, if a person is well equipped with a number of skill sets simultaneously, then we do not have to call people from outside for the training program. So, these people, they themselves can train people or their colleagues also. So, cross-functional basically provides benefit to a lot of people also. So, it provides benefit to the workers also, because they can always gain rich experience in handling different kind of jobs. They become more adaptable and versatile. They can be better maybe engineers, or maybe the specific people having a better career path. And of course, they know themselves that, okay, they will be able to do their own job well. Apart from that, if they are asked to work in another department also, they will be able to do justice. So, here basically a broader perspective increases the worker's understanding of the business, and definitely it reduces the need for supervision also. So, and in the case of cross-functional training, it makes it attractive for both the specialists and the generalists. So, if the people, they are specialists in any area, they can get a better hand, and if they are generalists also, then they can definitely increase their knowledge and skills and abilities. So, cross-functional training is a win-win situation for the company as well as for the individual also, and definitely it motivates the people also, and it motivates the company also, because at certain point of time, if the company thinks of cost cutting, so instead of having 5 people, it can have 2 or 3 people, and they can increase their salary structure also, and then they can ask that, okay, they can perform 2-3 tasks simultaneously. So, people, they don't mind if they are getting better salary and better work culture and environment. Then, the next one which you see on the screen is related with the team training. So, team training, before I proceed, you have to understand that team building and team spirit is a big factor that one should have if he or she wants to be successful in any of the organization. So, in the case of team training, it basically covers the 2 tasks, that is the content task and the group processes. So, in the case of content task, it specifies the team goals, such as what is the team goal. For example, it can be related with cost control. For example, if it is related with any of the finance department, then the cost cutting or budgetary controls can be there. For example, if it is in the normal general administration, then problem solving, how one is going to solve a particular problem which has taken place, what are the best solutions that can be offered. Then, in the case of group processes, it reflects the way team members interact with each other. This is very, very essential, because interpersonal skills have to be very strong enough if you really wish to work in any of the organization in a team. And I should tell you, my dear friends, that only I, me, myself, it will not do. If you are working in an organization, me has to get converted into we. only then the predetermined objectives of the companies, they can be attained or accomplished. So every company would like to get their employees in such a manner, or the quality of the employees, it should be such that they are able to perform better in teams. And of course, there are certain tasks which are performed in teams only. For example, if it happens to be a cricket team, so no individual will make any difference. The team has to play as a team only. So if a person is included as any team player, then it is implied that the person should have those team building skills and the team spirit. Only then the person can contribute to the team cohesiveness, and when there is a team cohesiveness, only then the team can excel. So the how people interact in the group processes is also very important in the case of team training. However, basically in this team training, experiential training techniques are used to develop the teamwork and spirit. Now, when I talk about the experiential training methods, it basically means they are asked to work in some common activities, or they are asked to do a certain task where they alone cannot do everything. For example, if there is a shoemaking company, a shoe is not made by just one individual. So it will be different departments which have to work in coherence. Only then a particular shoe can be manufactured. In the case of a team, experiential training is basically trainings are given to people where activities are given to them. With the help of activities, they try to develop that communication skills, they try to develop that belongingness. And when in the case of team building, there are different stages of team building also. For example, forming, norming, storming, performing and adjourning. These are the basically 5 stages of team building. So in the case of team training, one has to realize why a person is a part of a particular team, what contributions he or she is expected to make, and how they are going to make it, keeping their personal biasness and personal egos at bay. So all those things, they are actually trained in the team building training. Or otherwise, team building and leadership training, they are very, very common part of the corporate culture training programs. Then, as you can see here, it focuses on how members should communicate. As I told you, how the person has to communicate with the due respect and regard. And in any organization, when there is proper communication, only then we can have the TRS. If you remember, it is trust, respect and support. So for any team or any group to be successful, it is very essential that there should be a trust, there should be mutual respect between people or amongst people, and of course there should be a strong support system. So if it is there, only then we can have a strong team, and once we have a strong team, only then the objectives can be attained. Then here in the team training also discussions are made with respect with the dealing of the conflicts, how the conflicts will be solved, how people are going to react, how people are going to show their maturity level, so on and so forth. So they have to cooperate, they have to communicate, they have to understand each other's personalities, and then they have to get along. And then how to find using collective wisdom. Now this is a very important word, collective wisdom, because every individual in our team comes with a different set of skills, knowledge and abilities. So the main purpose of any organization is to leverage the skill set that one has. So once we have that kind of collective wisdom, we leverage the skills of everyone for the betterment of the group or the team, or for the attainment of the organizational objectives. The next one which you see on the screen, it's all related with the creativity training, my dear friends. There are different type of companies who think unconventionally, and they feel that okay, some kind of flexibility and autonomy should be given to the people, and there should not be any kind of biasness or obstacles or hindrances. So if one can think beyond the boundary, one can examine a particular situation or a problem from a different perspective, or if one can make a list of solutions, or maybe if one can think of reducing the loss or the damage, or if one can think of different kind of alternatives for a particular problem, so on and so forth. So that kind of training is given to the people. So people say that, okay, break the rules, take risk and go out of the box and devise unexpected solutions. So in the case of creativity training, trainers basically focus on three things. Firstly, breaking away with the restrictions. When I talk about breaking away, it's basically with the in terms of breaking away from restrictions. Then the trainee is expected to identify the ideas influencing his own thinking, defining the boundaries, or bringing about the different kind of assumptions. Second focus of this creativity training is on the generation of new ideas. Trainees should be open-minded. They should look at the problem from all possible angles, my dear friends, and then they should list as many alternatives as possible. And here we talk about that the trainee should allow his or her mind to wander over alternatives freely, expose himself to new influences, maybe people, article, books, situation, switch over from one perspective to the another, and then come out with the solution. And lastly, it talks about the promotion of the creative thinking. The trainees, they should not try to kill off any idea too quickly. It says that they should not try to kill out the idea too quickly. They should give some time over the ideas, because you never know, an idea can be beneficial to the company, or an idea can be beneficial in solving a particular problem, so on and so forth. There can be a lot of brainstorming that can be done. Then the encouragement is always given for the brainstorming. That means getting large number of ideas from a group of people in a short span of time. That is what it means by brainstorming. And basically in this creative thinking, it helps us to realize the ideas, overcoming the inhibitions, or maybe cross-fertilizing the ideas and getting over with the pattern thinking. So in the case of, more emphasis is laid on the creativity. And when we have that creativity, one has to think out of the box, one has to take risk, there should not be any kind of inhibitions. Lot of autonomy, freedom is given to the people to think over the ideas or how a particular problem can be solved, or how a decision should be taken. So a lot of time is given to the people to think over a particular idea, and how those ideas, they can be fertilized for the betterment of the company. Then another kind of training that we have, it is the diversity training. So diversity basically it talks about that, whenever diversity training is there, it considers all the diverse dimensions in the workplace. It can be related with the race, gender, age, disability, lifestyle, culture, education, ideas, backgrounds of the individual, so on and so forth. So while we design a training program, we have to keep this in mind, and as an individual, as a trainee also, one has to bear in mind that we are in a diverse group, and we all should understand how we can move effectively and efficiently in a diverse environment. So here it says that it aims to promote more of cross-cultural sensitivity with the aim of fostering harmonious and fruitful working condition. So in all the organization, there will be diversity. People will be hailing from different caste, culture, or maybe education backgrounds, ideas, age, all those things which are mentioned. So one has to understand that we have to have that kind of harmonious relationship amongst us. Only then we can move ahead. Now, when we talk about diversity, my dear friends, we have to understand about the coordination part. Because in diversity, that coordination is very, very essential. So when I talk about coordination, coordination is nothing but is just the blending of the efforts of everyone. So blending the efforts of everyone basically means all those people who are part of the organizational system, they are hailing from different cultural backgrounds, maybe gender, caste, creed, sex, or maybe religion, whatever it is. So one has to have that kind of feeling that we have to work in coherence. We have to work as a very, very cohesive team or a group. Only then we can create a better working culture and environment. And whenever there is a better working culture and environment, only then the predetermined objectives of the companies, they can be accomplished. And then lastly, it talks about that it focuses on the awareness building and the skill building. So when we talk about the awareness building, so awareness building is basically which helps employees appreciate. Please understand this word where I am talking about this awareness building. So awareness is basically where people appreciate. They appreciate the key benefit of diversity. They appreciate the key benefit of diversity. So if they have this kind of feeling in themselves, then definitely skill building will take place, which will offer knowledge, skills and abilities which are required for working with people having different backgrounds. So my dear friends, even if you are working in any organization or if you intend to work in any of the organization, kindly be aware about this diversity training aspect, and please have the habit of appreciating the diversity, because diverse group of people, they bring with themselves a lot of things which can be learned by people. So one can learn a lot of things from different diverse group also. The next type of training that you see on the screen is the literacy training. So at times there is an inability to write, to speak or work well with others, which could actually come in the way of discharging the duties, especially at the lower levels. So people who are at the higher level, they are already literate. So definitely literacy training is given to the people who are generally at the lower levels, and workers in such situation, they may fail to understand the safety messages or appreciate the importance of adherence to the rules and regulations. They may commit avoidable mistakes. All those things, they are very much common in an organization. So as I told you, this functional training may be a serious problem, and this is basically at the lower level. So it's like lot of functional literacy programs have to be initiated by the company, which would focus on the basic skills which are required to perform a job adequately and capitalize on the workers' motivation. Now, the motivation and morale level has to be very high, my dear friends, because when motivation and morale level will be high, only then we can have the productivity. So if people are literate enough, they understand the importance of adherence to the rules and regulation. If they understand, okay, such kind of problems, they can be avoided, or they can better speak or write. And if such kind of training they can be given to them, definitely we can overcome with such problems. And such problems, like when people, they do not adhere to the rules and regulation, or when people, they commit mistakes which can be easily avoided, so on and so forth, they are a real impediment on the success of the company. So one has to focus more on the lower level of people who are very prone to such problems. So in the case of literacy training, as I told you, that there can be some kind of functional training programs that can be initiated. They can be some kind of tutorial programs. They can be some kind of home assignments. Which can be related with the reading and writing exercises, which can be given to people to make them better understand, or to make them more literate, which can be generally used in the house training programs. Because as I told you, these writing problem, maybe if one is not able to write, one is not able to speak or work well, so they are all the bottlenecks. They are all the hindrances. So if they are the bottlenecks, these bottlenecks, they have to be removed on the way of the discharging their duties effectively. So such kind of training programs are initiated by the management to improve the literacy levels of employees who are weak with their reading, writing, speaking, or maybe at times the arithmetic skills also. So this is more of a lower level training program that can be initiated. Then there can be another kind of programs which can be initiated or training, that is the sales training, sales and technical training. Now these training programs are conducted to increase the sales volume. We all know that in any organization, two things are sold in the market, goods and services. So whether it is the goods and services which are being sold, every company aims at two things, maximizing the profit or maximizing the wealth maximization or profit maximization. These are generally the two objectives of any company. So the profit will only come when the sales will be high. So these sales trainings, they are very, very common in the corporate world. So there can be different sales training programs that can be initiated by the company or the HR department as to how we can increase the sales of their product or the goods which are being offered by them to the public. Then not only increasing the sales volume, but also how to increase the customer satisfaction. This is very important. Now, we basically know there are different stakeholders. There are basically 4 stakeholders. For example, they can be your shareholders, they can be your employees, they can be your customers, and they can be others. Others in terms of banks, financial institutions, suppliers, authorities, so on and so forth. So, these stakeholders, how to satisfy these stakeholders, that can also be a part of the sales training. But however, we mostly focus on the customers, because if the customers will not buy the product, then everything is bad, no matter how good the product is. So, in the case of sales training, how to increase the customer satisfaction or maybe the satisfaction of the other stakeholders, that can be imparted. And of course, with the sales comes the profitability. And in the case of technical training, it can be a very, very technical aspect training that can be done in terms of usage of a machinery or usage of a technology or the tools and equipments, so on and so forth. So, this becomes more of the technical aspect. But again, even if a company is manufacturing any manufacturing any goods or services also, they have to be sold in the market. So, sales training is of paramount importance, and one should have perfect sales training skills if you really wish to be a great manager. Then again, here on the screen, if you can see, there can be another kind of training programs. It can be related with quality, safety and management training. So again, in the case of quality, safety, management training, here efforts are made how the defects can be reduced in any process. Training can be given related to them. How to maintain the quality, again the training can be related to them. How we can maintain the quality of the product at reduced prices, because that is what people they want. They want good quality products at reduced costs. So trainings are also given how we can attain them, or how the number of accidents can be reduced. Again, training is given by in the case of safety training, they can be rendered by specialists or maybe the immediate supervisors or managers, how the accidents can be reduced, because whenever there are accidents, there is only a loss to the management and loss to the employees also. Then how the effectively people can be engaged at different levels are the aspects that are covered in the quality, safety and management trainings. That means how we can improve the involvement of the people in the company. So that kind of training is also given to them. Apart from these trainings which I mentioned, they can be something which is known as the apprenticeship training also. Now apprenticeship training is like, or the intern training, it basically talks about where people are working under the expert guidance of their relevant field. For example, they can be apprenticeship in the case of law firms. They can be just newly churned out law graduates who can work under the expert advocates. So they are known as the interns. So one has to bear in mind that these interns, they take training from their expert bosses in their relevant field, but it is not necessary that these interns will be serving as employees in those particular organizations also. So apprenticeship training or internship, they are very, very common. If you are a student, maybe a postgraduate student, or if you're doing or MBA program or something like that, then definitely you will be going for the intern training. Or maybe some chartered accountant or maybe company secretary people, they go for some kind of apprenticeship training. Or maybe in the case of medical, we may have got some doctors also who may work under the experienced doctor. So that is a kind of an apprenticeship training that is actually being done. So that means the person works under the supervision and guidance of an expert who guides them in their relevant field, but it is not necessary that the person will be an employee in that particular department under that same particular boss. So these were the few trainings which are actually imparted in the corporate world, but you have to bear in mind that these trainings, they are not limited to the ones which I discussed. There can be other kind of trainings also that can be initiated at different level by different companies, But you have to bear in mind that all types of trainings, they are not meant for all kind of employees. So definitely for that purpose, there has to be a need assessment. If there is a need for a particular kind of training, only then these trainings can be done. For example, skill training, as I talked about. So skill training, it can be related with communication, it can be problem solving, analytical skills, or it could be negotiation skills, conflict management. So these are we have to identify whether the individual or the group or the organization, do they need such kind of training? If there is the training need, only then the trainings will be given. So in a nutshell, there are different kind of trainings that can be initiated by the companies, which has different purpose to serve, and it is not only limited to the ones which I discussed. There can be some other kind of training programs also that can be taken up by the company. So that's all for today, my dear friends. Now I'll see you next time with another topic related with training goals only. So I hope the concepts of training, they are getting clearer and clearer with my ongoing lectures. Thank you so much and stay tuned for the next one.